guys, it's me and my friend Ariana. We're just dropping in to let you know that today's video is to help you neutralize the yellow and orange tones that you may find in the process of getting to a darker skin tone. And I also want to show you another way to reach your dark skin tone a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. I know that I've asked you to go to layer 4 of Mug 4, but I'm actually going to start with layer 1 of Mug 4 and my troubleshooting and techniques, and it's quite all right. The only thing that matters is that you use your color wheel in comparison to where you are now so that you will be able to make a decision of which direction to take. And I highly recommend that the techniques and tips that you will see in this video are not brought in until you get to Mug 4. If you find this video to be helpful, please leave a like, subscribe if you're not subscribed, share this video with a friend if you think it'll be helpful to them as well. Thank you guys for your support on the channel, and I'll see you on the other side. I want to make sure that you know how to use the color wheel. Now that we have gotten further along in painting, your kit may begin to look like one of these two colors. It may start to look like this, or it may start to look like this. Let's say your kit is starting to give off this red-orange color. What you would do to neutralize that red-orange color is you would take a blue. Opposite of this red-orange would be this blue-green color. You could use vein blue even and add a little bit of white to it to achieve this color. I try and keep it as basic as I possibly can by just simply using a blue, or sometimes I may use a different color in order to achieve the results that I'm going for. Just make sure that you are using what you have at your fingertips as a resource. Hey guys, excuse my voice. Today is another day, of course, but I am currently under the weather, but I am seeing this through, so let's get going. Just if you will forgive my voice, please try your best to overlook it. Let's dig right into the next step into this Americano skin tone. So you see I have Mug 4 and then I have one layer. I have done one layer of Mug 4 and I decided to pop back in and just to show you guys a little bit of something that I did. I noticed that my vinyl started to pull a little bit more orange than I wanted it to over the entire kit. So what I did was I took a mason jar and I added some blue, ultramarine blue, and Gamsol to a mason jar. So this is ultramarine blue and Gamsol in here, and I did a wash on the left side of the head so you guys can see the difference. So what that did was it toned it down tremendously. It did lighten it up a little bit, and that's okay because we will come back with additional layers of this mix right here to darken it. But I wanted to just get rid of that bright orange that I saw. Yes, I do want a golden tone, but I don't want orange at this point. So if your vinyl happens to be pulling too orange at any given time, I highly suggest that you take a mason jar and make you a skim milk consistency of ultramarine blue and Gamsol, and then do a swatch test to make sure it is the right consistency. So what I'm going to do with you guys really quickly is do a swatch test with you, which I already have because I painted the one side so you can see the difference. You can even see the line of where I stopped if you look closely. I just did this side of it. You can kind of see the line from where that paint has air dried versus where I have not gone in. And to me, in person, I can see that this is not as bright, whereas this one is a little bit brighter. So I have a Committed blue wash brush. So what I'm going to do is just mix this up again. And what you'll do is you'll just take some blue pigment out of your pot with your small palette knife and work it through on the side of your jar, and then add in your Gamsol. And just like we did from the very beginning with the first wash consistency, is you're going to dip it into your liquid first and then swipe down on the pigment. But let's just mix this. Dip, mix, and flip to drain off the excess. And let's do a swatch test to ensure this is going to give us enough pigment. And yes, that is beautiful. And if we look at the inside of this, we can see that this is definitely not tinted water, but a heavier mixture of like a milk consistency. So let's go ahead and do the other side of Ariana's head. We are going to go into the shaded areas, of course. And as you can see, you don't necessarily see the blue. We never actually want that color to pop through whenever we're doing these wash consistencies. We just want that shadowed effect and enough of the pigment to make a difference onto the color that we're trying to neutralize. And we know that it's going to make a difference because of the blue color that we have here. As long as that swatch comes through okay, then we're great. Now, if we had an issue where it was pulling blue on the vinyl, we would not want that, because we don't want a blue baby. But I'm really just going over all the places that we've shaded. And if it drips down into the highlighted areas, it's quite all right. And let's do this side of the head here. Behind the ear. And so just to explain a little bit more, because you guys understand with the recipe card, you can tweak it to however you need it to be to your liking, right? So with the recipe card, I give you the guide that pretty much shows you how you can achieve the Americano skin tone. But it's your job as the chef, if you will, to ensure you stay on that path by making sure your colors are, making sure that your vinyl is behaving properly. So what I mean by that is, if it is pulling too much, and what will more than likely happen more than anything, you won't see too much red, you won't see too much of any other color but orange, because orange is in a lot of these paints, more so in the burnt umber. And when working with an orange color, you want to make sure that you neutralize that as much as possible. Keep it at bay. So you see that I am going into the highlighted areas, and all this is going to do is just deepen it a little bit. It's not going to take away the highlighted area. I went over this side with this blue as well. And if anything, I am just bridging the gap, almost, but not really, from the shaded to the highlighted area. All right, so we're gonna let this air dry. And we'll go on to the arm and onto the leg of the kit. If you don't have the Irresistible thinning medium like I have, feel free to use the Liquid Thin if you have it. Feel free to use the Exodus thinning oil if you have it. The Liquid Thin, I have heard, allows you to achieve the skin tone a lot quicker. I have not had much luck with it. Cannot say that that is true for everybody, because the feedback has certainly been that they have found some success with it. I just have not. I would also like to say that if you don't have all the colors that I have, that you could very well mix the burnt umber that we have in mug 4 along with this purple and this black if you don't have the blue. So what that will do is that will of course help you to achieve the same goal, and that is to get to that dark brown skin tone. Now granted, in our bowl is the blue, black, and burnt umber. But that doesn't mean you cannot achieve a color like this or similar to this with the burnt umber, a purple, and the carbon black. I don't have the Mars black, which is what I used to use whenever I did that baby. If you can see my hair or not. Whenever I did that baby. But that shouldn't stop me from achieving that skin tone very much. But I am going to show you some applications with this mixture, so that you can see that it is definitely attainable achieving this same type of mixture. Also not living in a bubble to where I think that everybody has every single item that I have on my station. So with that in mind, I want to present to you a few different options and alternatives that you could take to the actual recipe card. So with that being said, let's jump right into it. Okay, so I am going to take the burnt umber and put that on the side wall. And then work that out on the side of it. Okay, let me wipe that off. And then I am going to take the purple. And remember, if you don't have purple, you can use red and blue. The red and blue that we have in our ingredient list. And I am going to take that much purple. Yes, that much purple, because I want to make sure that I have enough paint in my palette or in my bowl to last a few layers. I'm showing you guys how to go about doing it. So this is the black. Remember, with the black, we don't want to go too heavy, but just a little bit on the tip of my knife here. Okay, so let's go ahead and mix this, and let's see what we end up with. So we can really see that that purple has really toned down that orange that was a part of the burnt umber. So that's why I'm like, if you have that dark brown from Irresistibles, you don't have to worry about neutralizing your colors as much as those of us who only have the Genesis, as much as we have to worry about that. Okay, so I'm going to take the Exodus thinning oil. Let me open this up here. Let it cover the bottom of my bowl. Put it to the side. Put my brush here and pull it down. So we can see these colors are looking pretty similar so far. So this gives you a very milky consistency with that thinning oil from Exodus, from the Exodus line from McPherson's. And this is suitable for shading. This is certainly suitable for shading. There's more than one way to skin a cat, right? Just want to present you all with some options. Okay. I think this is good enough. Let's just compare the two bowls, if we will. They are pretty similar in color. So you can't go wrong if you don't have all the colors that I have, okay? So just keep that in mind as you are going for your last mug color, because we want to make sure our most outer layer really gets us that chocolatey rich tone, doing however many layers it takes for us to get there. It may take some 6, it may take some 10, it may take some 12. It just depends on your application and your technique. But we're gonna go ahead and do a few of these on Ariana on screen for you guys to see. All right. And let's start on an arm this time around. Turn this fan on so that we can cool our limbs as we work. But y'all, I'm so excited to be doing this with you. I really, really am. I hope that it is working out for you. Make sure you leave your comments down below. And just remember, you have to keep adding layers. Don't get to a point where you're like, I feel like I've put on so many layers, you know. When am I ever gonna reach it? It does kind of feel like that, but once you reach that color that you're going for, you will start to realize it can start to get dark real quick. But you just have to keep going. Don't see orange and then think, oh, this is never gonna happen. You have to keep going. It takes a lot of patience and a lot of commitment. But I hope that in giving you some more tools in your box as far as neutralizing the oranges and the yellows out of it, that will help you to stay on board, stay on track, and to really achieve what it is that you want, and that is a dark-skinned baby. It does take patience and it does take a little bit of time, but if this is what you want, you'll definitely get there. Persistence is just the key. Well, let's get into testing out the gray over this kit. So right here, I'm letting you see where I have gone in with purple, and it's kind of deepened it. You can even see some of the purple tint. And excuse my voice, I am still getting over whatever I had going on. But nevertheless, you can still see some of the purple tint, and that's fine because we're going to cover that with our mug 4 that we have sitting here. But this one has already received purple and gray to tone down and deepen. This is at your discretion, but I do recommend that you use one of these colors. No, the gray is not on the skin tone card. However, if you have gray 04, then wonderful. If not, you can use black and white to make a gray. And I would put in a little bit of blue if you want to reach this color. So we are going to, we've put down the purple on this one. We're going to go ahead and add in some gray over this limb. So let's begin with the gray. And you see how it deepens the color? And also gets rid of some of those tones that we don't want, because we definitely want a brown in nature skin complexion. But these are a little bit of the tips and tricks to achieve exactly what it is that you're going for when you are working on brown skin tones and darker skin tones. So you can see how it's deepened around the cuticle or the nail bed area. So let's continue to just do the hand portion of this kit. But around this point is where so many people get frustrated, because it's like, I don't see it changing. I'm having trouble with it going darker. But it's that you have to keep going. You have to keep persevering. I cannot tell you how many times I got frustrated in the beginning process myself. But it wasn't until I said, you know what? What's the worst that can happen if I keep going? You got to push yourself. And just be patient with yourself too, because that's going to make a difference as well. But the more impatient you are, the less likely you are to really achieve your goals. So you got to be patient just with anything. So All right, so let's talk about it. So you guys now have a variation of a neutralizer or a deepening tone whenever you are working with the Americano skin tone card. Just like with any recipe, you may want to do a little bit of this or a little bit of that, or add this or add that. But these would be the 3 things that would match exactly what we're doing here. So it would not take you too far off your beaten path. So just to wrap up, the purple, I would recommend if you are trying to get rid of orange or yellow tones. The gray to deepen the skin color. And then the blue if you are trying to get rid of any orange tones. So you have some options. And of course, yes, this is a wash. And you can do a wash, or you could do a thinning oil and pigment like we have here. Or like we have here, we have also thinning oil and pigment. The choice is really up to you. I just wanted to present to you some options so that once you get in there, and if your technique is proving to have too many orange tones, you have a variety of methods that you could try. And the beauty in this being a tutorial for you guys is you can always rewind and start this over. And in addition to that, you can try it on a test kit if you'd like, which is what I recommend until you get to a point where you're happy with the skin tone and you just like the way that it is coming out. So with that being said, let's jump right back into mug 4 on our skin tone card.